Imagine you're a normal student, when suddenly you're forced to become a drug mule for a terrifying mob boss. But the bag of experimental drugs inside you leaks, and instead of killing you, it turns you into a god. Today, we are explaining the full story of Lucy. The story begins in Taipei, where a young woman named Lucy is tricked by her new boyfriend, Richard, into delivering a mysterious briefcase to a man named Mr. Jiang in a high-end hotel. Richard is clearly terrified, and before Lucy can even process what's happening, Richard is shot dead right in front of her. Lucy is dragged upstairs by Jiang's thugs, crying and pleading for her life. Inside the hotel suite, they force her to open the briefcase, revealing 4 bags of a blue synthetic substance called CPH4. Mr. Jiang decides to use Lucy and 3 other foreigners as mules, surgically sewing the bags into their stomachs to smuggle them into Europe. While Lucy is being held in a filthy dark cell, one of the captors tries to assault her. When she resists, he kicks her brutally in the stomach several times. This causes the bag of CPH4 inside her to leak into her system. Instead of overdosing and dying, Lucy's brain begins to unlock. We see her body shaking violently on the ceiling and walls as the drug starts to rewire her DNA in real time. She suddenly becomes eerily calm. She kills her captors with perfect precision, walking through the building like a ghost. She can now feel everything. She can hear the conversations in the next room, feel the rotation of the earth, and even see the cellular signals in the air. Lucy rushes to a nearby hospital, walking into an operating room and shooting a patient on the table because he was beyond saving anyway. She demands the doctor remove the remaining bag from her stomach. While lying on the table without any anesthesia, she calls her mother. It's a tearful, haunting conversation where she describes remembering the taste of her mother's milk and the feeling of her bones growing when she was a baby. The drug has now reached 20% of her brain capacity. She realizes she is evolving at an uncontrollable rate, and she needs to find the other 3 bags of CPH4 to keep her body from falling apart. Meanwhile, she contacts Professor Samuel Norman in Paris, a researcher who has spent his entire life theorizing about what humans could do if they used more than the standard 10% of their brain. Lucy proves his theories are real by hacking into his television, his cell phone, and every screen in his hotel room simultaneously. She tells him she is coming to see him. On the flight to Paris, her body begins to disintegrate. Her cells are changing so fast that she starts to turn into white dust in the airplane bathroom. She realizes that her physical form can't handle the power, so she consumes the rest of the CPH4 she recovered just to hold herself together. In Paris, Lucy meets with Captain Pierre Del Rio and uses her telepathic powers to track down the other 3 mules who were captured by the police. Mr. Yang and his army of thugs are also in Paris, leading to a massive, chaotic shootout at the hospital where the mules are being held. Lucy walks through the gunfire, completely unfazed. With a flick of her hand, she makes the gunmen's weapons fly out of their hands and pins the men to the ceiling without even touching them. She retrieves all the bags, but she knows her time is running out. She meets Professor Norman and his colleagues at a laboratory. By now, Lucy has reached 60% capacity. She can control gravity, change her appearance, and even see the history of a tree just by touching it. She tells the scientists that time is the only true unit of measure for existence, that without time, a car or a person doesn't actually exist. To reach 100% and pass on her knowledge, she needs to consume all the remaining CPH4 at once. As the scientists set up the massive injection, Yang's men storm the building with rocket launchers and heavy machine guns. As the drug hits her system and she reaches 90%, Lucy's physical body begins to transform into a black, oily substance that looks like a living supercomputer. She begins to travel back through time, her mind moving faster than light. She sees the beginning of modern cities, then the era of the dinosaurs, and eventually encounters the early hominid named Lucy in a desert. They touch fingers, echoing the creation of Adam painting. She travels further back, witnessing the formation of the Earth and eventually the Big Bang itself. She sees the very birth of the universe. Back in the lab, Mr. Jiang breaks into the room. He walks up to Lucy's physical shell and points a gun at her head, screaming for his revenge. But just as he pulls the trigger, Lucy hits 100% brain capacity, and she simply vanishes into thin air. Jiang is shot dead by Del Rio, but Lucy is nowhere to be found. Suddenly, Del Rio's phone chirps with a message that simply says, "I am everywhere." The movie ends with the black supercomputer crumbling away, leaving behind a single golden USB drive containing all the knowledge of the universe. Lucy has transcended the physical world, leaving the final message that life was given to us billions of years ago. And now, we finally know what to do with it.